Yeah, I want to talk about like the strangeness of how mindless the people are. If you think about like when I was in college, I was in the school, and the professors were saying they're saying, look, you got to keep your mouth quiet. You got to keep your head down. Don't say anything. Don't rock the boat until you graduate. Then you still can't say anything. That's what I was saying. Like, wait a minute. You gotta keep quiet, and then you graduate. And it's like, wait. Are you saying that after you graduate, then you can say something? Oh, no. You can't say anything at that point either. Because you're gonna have to get a job somewhere. And you can't get a job anywhere if you're gonna say these things. So it's like, wait a minute. You're telling me, wait till I graduate before I speak. And then you're actually saying, well, even then, you still can't say anything. And heaven forbid you get married. Oh my goodness. You don't sign onto a mortgage. Then, you're really got to watch what you say. And it's like, people they just don't do that. They go, wait, I'm going to keep quiet. I'm not going to get involved. And some people do get, like people like myself get involved, and we get in so much trouble. It's so criminal, and it's real, and it's actually so ridiculously real. And the fact is that it's covert. They don't want people to know what's going on. Like, I was literally being harassed by the police in every town in the 90s. Okay, this is, you just say, well, that's not true. Well, in the town I was living in, certainly. Okay, I got into some guy was attacking me. This is a fact. It was, on a main street, the main city street. It was like 11 o'clock at night, and there was a cop driving around watching this happen. And I already was attacked prior to that from a gang member who said he was part of a cult. Okay, he said the cult that he was part of ran everything. And at the time, this is in 1996, I thought it was like kind of like a little gang. No, now I'm, it was like years later, I went, oh wait, no, that cult that he belonged to, like a really real cult, a really strange cult. Example, okay? There's these woods that someone got stabbed in, and he escaped. He escaped from a gang. Okay, he was a gang of people were doing some kind of ritual violence against him. It wasn't like it was like a real thing. It was like, what was going on? They were doing some kind of evil ritual, and he escaped. But the thing is, like, who is this guy? What's this? Nobody knows. The reporters don't even report on the story. Like, I went to go discover, because it was in the newspaper, and it was internet news, and I was not living in the town. I was in a different state, but I wanted to investigate. So I drove down there to investigate, and nobody wanted to talk about it. And it was a real event. It was in the news. And these people, there was this bar was right where this happened, right across the street from where this happened. There's woods behind a baseball field. There's like a train line that goes through there. Pretty big little patch of woods. And I was very familiar with this place. And I always thought it was very odd that I never seen any people down there in these woods. It was a nice little wooded area that was really close to the city, the best wooded area to the downtown of the city, and it was right next to this park where had a track field, baseball court, and it's pretty big park, and there's really nobody in these woods ever, and the trails were so well groomed too, and I was like, that's weird. There's nobody in these woods. I'm always there by myself, and I never see anybody. And it was eerie. It was just an eerie thing. And there was like the remnants of lots of bonfires too. Like there would be these big bonfires. And really, if you were to light a bonfire in these woods, the cops would come. So it was kind of like an odd thing. And then really, you couldn't have these bonfires without people noticing in the houses that surrounded this area. And certainly the police would show up. Everyone like knows, like, oh, you don't do that. That's some, the cops will come. But then who's lighting these fires? See, it was just like curious. And I didn't really understand it. And years later, it kind of dawned on me. When that guy said he was in a cult and they run everything, he wasn't lying. They actually run everything. In this city, they run everything. And I want to describe really what's going on. The people are very poor. Everybody's poor. They're all Democrats. I mean, this is the strangest thing, like to realize that everybody's Democrat. And there may be some Republicans somewhere. And I'm going to tell you, the Republicans that are somewhere, probably not that intelligent. They're really not that, probably, they don't really know what's going on at all in life. It was a uniparty. This is in the 90s. And I was the one who was saying that this is a uniparty, that these Republicans aren't at all Republicans in any sense, or in any sense different than the Democrats. It's a uniparty. They're just going to raise taxes, and they're not going to give the people anything at all. Like they're going to give you like a baloney of like some kind of services, but you see that the services aren't going towards any lawful citizens. You know what I'm saying? There's money that's going out to people, and a lot of it. And the money is like, an example would be like they had housing for like 4,000 people coming out of like the inner cities. So they transported 4,000 people from all over the country, inner cities, to this little like, rural city. It's just like kind of like it was a crime-free city up until they brought in 4,000 people from the inner ghettos of the whole country. And that was a people who didn't have to work. They all have free rent, and it's a crime-free zone. It's like a big block of, 4,000 people. It's crime-free zone. And like, it was this is in like 90, 96, 97. There was like a nice-sized house. They couldn't even sell it for $10,000 because it was in the middle of this area, where it's just crime, and it's just all non-white people who are very racist. So it's just this little old lady trying to sell her house, and she couldn't even sell it for $10,000. I remember like seeing that like listed as it's a nice house. I was like, wow, look at the house. It's fine. The house is fine. And even a friend of mine was like, yeah, I don't want to buy that. No way. It's in a wrong neighborhood. And that neighborhood didn't exist in the 80s. They created it in like the late 80s, the end of like 88, 89. They brought in 4,000 people, and they brought in this crime culture, and it's a mandate. Like, you have to accept this as the right way of living, otherwise you're the bad person. Okay, so this entitled criminal element, you have to accept it, and they're supposed to walk all over you. It's extreme. This is how it was, and I moved there in 95, and so you think about like 89, 90, and this is like in a 5-year period. I got there like 5 years after the fact. It was just like starting to metastasize, and the people really didn't know what to think of it. They just, when I was there, like 95, I'm like, 18 years old, walking down the street, and this guy tried to mug me. He pulls out a knife, and he's a big guy. I'm like 18-year-old kid. This guy's like, 30s, 40 or something, big guy. And he just pulls out a knife, and he's like, tries to stab me. He wanted my money. I had like $5 on me. And like, I didn't even think to give it to him. I'm like, well, I'm just going to run out of here. I'm getting out of here. This is dangerous. And, I reported to the police. They don't care. They didn't have like a slight, like, oh my gosh, let him rob you. Let him, he's special people. And I can recognize the guy, like the guy was very, prominent. I'm like, there he is. He wound up stabbing somebody else. And it was surreal. Like, oh yeah, that's awful. He's allowed to attack you. He's just, we're not gonna trouble him. He's special people. And you gotta realize, like, he's probably living in rent-free somewhere. It's like, there's a whole community of people. It's 4,000 people. And they're living rent-free. And they're driving around in nice cars and lots of money. They're selling drugs. And they're crime-free. They not to be bothered by the police. And it's not like this is just innocent politics. No, these are very evil people. Okay, so let me get back to the... that wooded thing. So like, someone got stabbed in these woods. He escaped, and then, I want to hear the story. When I'm investigating, okay, first of all, nobody in the bar. There's 30 people. That's pretty packed bar. Not one person had anything to say. They're like, "Why are you asking questions? Who are you? What do you want to know?" And it was just like completely out of the Twilight Zone. You're like, wait a minute, why am I asking questions? Because this is a serious crime. Yeah. Something going on here. We want to know what's going on. They're like, no, you don't ask questions. We don't investigate these things. You're a funny character. Get out of here. And really, like, they did not have a good attitude towards me. It's interesting because later, I was there for like a week. I stayed for a few days investigating, and a group of young people, they came in and to that bar, and I was in there. I'd go there frequent a little bit, and they just didn't seem like regular people who'd go in there. And then they became very friendly towards me, and they wanted to hang out. And they're like, "Oh, we're going up to the ski place. You want to come? Yeah, we're gonna go down this there's like some kind of like bobsled track or something. I never went on it. They wanted me to go up there with them on that. And you know what? I got a very strange feeling. Like, no, that's not safe. These are dangerous people. These are dangerous people. I'm telling you, this is not, that they were so friendly. And who are these people? These were wealthy people, okay? Wealthy people who really didn't have any place in this bar. This is not like the kind of bar they'd frequent. And that they were so eager to have, company and like, oh, yeah, sure. Yeah. Okay. Something was off with these people. And you think I'm lying about this. I investigated those woods and I found 2 burnt pentagrams. That's crazy. There was a burnt out car too. Like, someone put a car back there and burnt it, like, what is that? And it's like, the houses all around there, it's all rich people. It's doctors and lawyers, all rich people. You can't have a bonfire burning a car without the cops showing up unless they're all in on it. Okay? Whose car was that? I don't know. It was like a pretty new car that was completely burnt out. And, you don't just have a car burn up in the woods without somebody, all the tires, this whole thing was burnt up. And it's like, wait a minute. And the pentagrams that I found, like, they tried to cover them up, but I can see that it was like, there was, it's the remnants of what was, there was a pentagram in there. A big one, like in a 20-foot circle. So I'm like, yeah, this is something bigger than just small little gang. This is the whole city. This is the whole people. And I'm going to say this. I knew like 50 people in that town, all different kinds of people, like close. I was, personally acquainted with, I was there for like 15 years. I knew these people very, intimately. All of them were shady. When I came, I left for like 11 years. I came back and they're all, I'd call them leftists. All of them were shady leftists. All faithless, godless people. Dangerous people. All of them. Every single one of them. Really bad. Like I can just, these are Charles Manson psychopaths. All of them. Like they weren't like that when they were younger. And now that the entire group of these people, they're all different people from all different, corners of society. And I'm thinking it's a big cult that like when you turn 40, you're in or out of the cult. And if you're out of the cult, you got no life. You're shut off. That's it. So everybody's in the cult. I'm telling you, A friend of mine was telling me about his sister, and he kept bringing it up. Her sister, she died, and what happened? Oh, she was a good person, and she died. I think she didn't join the cult, so she died. That's what happened. So like, I think the way he was mentioning it, that's, it just seems to be that's what he was alluding to. He was alluding to something, and he himself, bad character. Yeah, not a good guy. Yeah, doing bad things and the worst of things. And he wasn't like that before. It's just like these are not good people, and it's like something out of the Twilight Zone. It really is, and you realize like how infectious these cults are, and you gotta understand they're all liberals. That's just a part of it. So you think about like, they're all liberals, and then they're going into like adulthood, and they're all cynical, faithless people. And it just becomes a pragmatic fact of life. Because like I said, there's really poor people and the very wealthy people, and that's it. And the very wealthy people has the power to bring in 4,000 people who are all criminals, who are exempt from the courts, okay, doing, very bad things and having no punishment. And then this being society, all these other things. I'm saying like this is a very profane people. I can go on about. So it needs to be understood. Like, it's so far-fetched sounding, but this is the reality of it. Like I said, that stabbing case, that's pretty bizarre. That somebody stabbed in these woods, escapes. Even the guy who attacked me when I was 18, he was in a satanic cult. He said he had all these tattoos, and he said that he didn't like these people, but he had no choice. He's in it, and he's in for good. He can't leave, and that's just the way it is. And what he meant, I didn't really know. At the time, I was thinking, like I said, a small gang. No, afterwards, I'm thinking, no, this is the whole city is like this. I can tell you a guy I was working for, and I was working in a restaurant 40 miles from where I was staying, because I moved back. This is, I don't remember what year it was. This is probably maybe 2010, maybe. So I moved there. This is after me investigating that Woods scenario. That was maybe 2005, 2007 or something. That was somewhere around there. But this is like 2010. I was working in this restaurant, and they knew what I was doing in my apartment. There's a girl working there, and she's singing a song that I was listening to the night before. And then the next day, she's singing another song that I was listening to the night before. And then the next day, she was saying this like it was a comedy thing that I was watching. These are obscure things. So she was saying this like, comedy thing that I was just watching the night before. So that's like, obviously they're being very overt and going, hey, we know what you're doing. And like, maybe they just had my laptop was bugged. Could be the case. Shouldn't be, but yeah, and the guy who I was working for, he had 3 restaurants, but he was showing me like all these cameras that he had on his locations, and he had lots of cameras hidden all over the place. And he said he wanted me to be the security guy. He wanted me to work for him. He had a job for me. He's like, he's got some opportunity, but he was going like wink, wink, nod, nod. Like, there is no job. It's just that we're part of, this is our society. This is how we do things. We don't do the up and up. We're not on, like how I was being. And he was saying, look, if you want to be like that, you're going to be poor. You're not going to have anything. That's it. You get it? I'm trying to help you. He said that. I'm trying to help you out. He's like, I'm trying to help you out and saying like, look, you can't be a goody-goody. We don't do that over here. You got to get past that, and then, you'll understand. And I think that's how everybody else is over there. And they're not good at all. They're very dangerous people. That like, a guy I knew. This guy was I lived with him for 7 years. We're roommates. And a person that we knew, a friend of ours. This is the first person I met when I was down there. He had tied up his girlfriend for 2 weeks, and she got away, and he went to jail. He did 8 years of 10 years. 8 years of 10 years. When he got out, he did it again. It was in the newspaper. He did it again, and he only got 2 years. He only got 2 years. And I don't know what the story is, but the guy who was my roommate, he wanted me to move back in with him. He was trying to say, I want to tell you something. I want to tell you something. We were talking for like 15 hours because we hadn't seen each other in years. It'd been like 10 years or something. And so this is like probably like 2010. And when I was investigating the other thing, I didn't run into him. Or maybe I did. I don't remember. But anyway, yeah, I'm pretty sure he had somebody in his basement. He wouldn't let me in his basement, and it sounded like he had 2 girls down there who would have been in a dungeon of some sort. Okay, and I heard him talking to somebody, and I heard his 2 girls, and then I kind of moseyed down there. I go, hey, what's going on? Hey, Kevin. And he's like, what are you doing? I told you never to come down here, blah, blah. He had like this wall he closed that was up on spring. It was a pull down wall, and he closed that up. And I'm like, I didn't get to see, and he kind of shooed me away. I should have, if I had stood my ground and like, apprehended him, I'm pretty sure like I would have gotten in trouble. Like the sheriff would know something's up. Like I wouldn't have been able to discover anything and without being captured. You understand? That's my intuition. I think like, and I had my mother was being attacked. They were she was in a bad way. They were stealing her money is what they were doing. The Social Security people who are satanic. This is like, it's like, that's Paterson, New Jersey. And at the Paterson, New Jersey, Social Security office, they were giving me a runaround for like 3 years. They were stealing her money and I didn't know. And then I initially thought it was like they were mistaken about what was going on. She had to reapply for something. No, she didn't have to reapply. They were stealing her money. They gave me printout of what it was. The mainframe printout says the money was going the whole time, was leaving her, the Treasury account for Social Security, and it never stopped. But they gave me Microsoft Excel documents that said that she stopped receiving funds and that, she had to reapply and they were fake documents. And they gave me 3 sets of those documents. And they're in Excel, for one. And for 2, the 3 sets of documents weren't even matching. They were supposed to be the same document, but they had typos all in them that didn't match in the 3 sets of documents. Okay, so they gave me 1 set, and then I had to get another set, and I had to get another. They had to retype these things. They were pulling. That's why it takes so long for them to do it, because they're like, oh shoot, we gotta give them some fake documents because they're stealing her money. And then they killed her. They put her in a hospital, and then there was an accident, and she died. All Satanists. All these people are Satanists.